Hey coin collectors, it's DC on the Big D, and we're looking at the 1974 United States $quarter coin. This one on the left is a Denver mint. This one on the right is a Philadelphia mint. And how can I tell? Well, you can almost read the D on there. That's how I can tell. And I can also tell because they did not have a letter on the Philadelphia mint coins and the San Francisco mint coins from that year, of which they made 2.6 million San Franciscos. Those are in a proof or mint set. They are not in general circulation. So this has got to be a D, even though there's no way of telling really what it is. And that's one of the things I want to talk a little bit about today is the Ds on the 1974 quarters. When we start, and you've heard me say this before, and some collectors really get angry about this whole idea of the filled D, but since this is a big D channel, I figure we can do some Ds on here. Look at Ds. This is a D. I mean, I understand that it's almost 50 years since they made Ds, 40-something years, but still, this is not just from wear. This is from being stamped really, really poorly. And if you look at the 1974 United States quarter or Washington quarter videos online, and in particular, the best one, or one of the best ones, is the Couch Collectibles, where he talks about the 1974 error coins. He just has all kinds of error coins. It looks like it was a little tiny bit of a sloppy year. It doesn't hurt that 1974 was still a year in which they could bring some of those error coins out, and they weren't chopping them all up. It's really, really hard to get some of the error coins modern day because it's illegal for you to take them out of the mint, and they have much better quality control. But look for them anyway. All right, so that's a D, that's a D, and that's a D, and you're going to have to take my word for it because only this one really looks like a D. One of the things you can tell when they stamp, these are the hand stamped with kind of a rod thing. See how it gets indented a little bit around the D? And that's on all of these. It gets indented a little bit. And what happens is, a couple things happen. One is, if it doesn't get hit quite right, the D doesn't come out quite right. Another thing that happens is, because these coins get dented a little bit, in a weird way, it makes these stick up differently and get hit differently. One of the other things that you can see, and this comes straight from the mint, is this right up here. See this line right here? This is, you'll find these in your mint coin bags. If you ever buy a bag of coins from the mint, or see one in a bank and whatever, this is what happens in the bag when, let me show you, when this edge hits this coin with a lot of force, happens in the mint or in the bag. And, you know, if you ship a bunch of bags and you have hundreds of pounds and it hits down on there like that, it chops it right off. So this is, when you see this on a coin, and you'll see this on the modern coins too, this is simply the rim of another coin that hit this coin so hard that it indented it. Now, how does it do that? Well, it can happen at the mint, but in general it happens afterwards when they're trying to package them or send them, because at the mint there's not quite as much weight to hit it, and it can't hit it in quite the right fashion. But when it's in a bag or when they're packing them to send them somewhere, sometimes those bags in the bag, the coins in the bag, can hit each other really hard. What about this rim? Well, it is a reeded edge. There are 119 reeds along the edge. This is a copper nickel clad copper coin. So in other words, it's a copper nickel coating on the outside, copper on the inside, and a copper nickel coating on the outside. If you do go get a chance to look at that Couch Collectibles video, look at the one he has that doesn't have the copper on the inside. There's an error coin from 1974 that has no copper on the inside. It just has the cladding all the way through. It weighs different. I think it actually might weigh a little bit more than a regular quarter because the copper's a little lighter, I believe, than the nickel. But take a look at the Couch Collectible video and he can tell you. A great channel, by the way. All right, so what else we got? We got this dent here. That dent here does not mean anything. That's just something that happened in a machine or in a car or something. That is not valuable. When we look at these, we always look for doubling, which I haven't seen a lot with doubling on the front, the double die obverse. There are some that have the double die on the reverse, and that's generally somewhere near the eye. And this one you can't really see the eye very well in America, AMERICA. But this is also an area you want to look for. Whenever you get 1974, look at the back, look for doubling in the eye, and look for a die crack. There is a bunch of die cracks out there. They're worth from $5 to $50, where the die actually has a crack that goes along the bottom of the E, up through the R, and over to the I. And we've looked at these already, and I could not see that in any of these. So it would just go from this E kind of up across into the I, right through the R. And it's very easy to see, and you can see no doubling on this one either. And on this one's kind of funny and kind of messy, but still no doubling on here. Nothing on here that wouldn't have come from just use. And we've got one more, and that's the Philly. And I want to show you something on the Philly version, and that is there's a little chunk out of the R there. And so you're going, okay, is that the die crack? But if you tip this coin up just right, you'll see a line that goes up through there and into the R. So something scratched it. There's a scratch line that goes up there, and it actually took a little chunk out of the R. So this is not what we'd call a die crack. This is something that happened afterwards. And you can actually trace the line right down through there where something hit it. All right, how many did they make? Well, at Philadelphia Mint, they made 801.5 million. All right, so 800 million at the Philadelphia Mint means they're not going to be rare. In order to get any money from this coin, it has to be way over MS60. MS60 might get you $4 or $5, but you have to get up to MS65 before you get anywhere in the $6 to $8 region. And if you get this in the S version, it's only worth a couple dollars. The San Francisco Mint ones that are in the proof set, only worth a few dollars. They're not actually worth as much as the MS65s. Now, that being said, there are not a lot of MS67s or above out there. So if you can get this in a mint state 67, which means it would look perfect, that would be worth somewhere around $200 to $400, probably closer to $400 these days. At the Denver Mint, they made 353 million. So between the two of them, 1.2 billion of these. You're going to see them everywhere. When you do look for them, look for the die crack on the back, look for the doubling on the back, and look for these funny looking Ds, which even though they aren't really valuable, are kind of fun to see all the ways that a D came out in 1974 from the Denver Mint. All right, thanks for watching. This is DC on the Big D Coin Channel.